We are in chapter 11, section 3 on credit cards. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in here. So when a customer uses credit to make a purchase, the consumer is actually receiving a loan from the credit card company. Therefore, frequently, there's an added cost to the consumer who purchases it on credit. Okay, the added cost can be an annual fee or interest charges. On these purposes. Okay, this is called a finance charge. So a finance charge is an amount paid in excess of the cash price. So that would be what you actually purchase it for. It's the cost for the consumer for use of the credit. Okay. Now, the most common method of determining finance charges is the average daily balance method, which we're going to go over here in a minute. Okay, so the interest charges are based on that average daily balance. And not every credit card is going to do this is just most. Okay, which is calculated by dividing the sum of the total amounts of each day of the month by the number of days. So like for this month, if we were to go from April to May, right, so if we cut it off before May 31st, then we would only have 30, but if we went from sometime in May to sometime in June, we'd have that 31st day, so it'd be 31. So it's just going to depend on the month that you're really looking at, okay? But there is a formula for it, and the formula is just literally the average daily balance equals, then it's just one big divising problem, okay? So it's a sum of daily balance, total amounts owed, sum of owed each day divided by number of days in the billing period. Okay, so that's all this. Okay, so let's look at an example. So if we have an unpaid bill for $620 that it has a due date of March 10th, if we make a purchase of $214 made on March 15th and $67 is charged on March 30th, and a payment of $200 was made on March 22nd. The interest on the average daily balance is 1.5% per month. That's very, very, very low on a credit card. It's very rare. Usually they're 15 to 20%. Find the finance charge on the April 10th bill. Okay, so first thing we have to do is, just based off of this paragraph, we have to make our list of these. Now this is given in your book, but you will be expected to be able to create a table of something similar to this. I'll probably give you the dates, and then you'll have to figure out the purchases and the balances. So I might fill in some of this for you, but I'm expecting you to be able to create this at some point. Okay, the one in the homework, it's given for you, so you don't have to do that part. Okay, so we have an unpaid bill of $620, so that goes in our balance for the start of the period, and then the purchase of $214 is made March 15th, so $214 is a payment. Okay, so that's a purchase, so it's going to be positive because it's going to be added to our bill. $67 is charged on May 30th, so again we make another charge, and then we pay $200 on March 22nd, so that would go here. So because it's a payment, it's going to lower the balance, that's why it's negative. Now we get this value by adding the previous balance plus this to get this. Okay, and then we do the same thing here, but instead of adding, now we're subtracting because it's negative. And then here we add the 67 to 634 to get 701. Okay, now the number of days over here is important because we're trying to find, again, the total number of days in each piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 times 620 plus 7 times 834 plus 8 times 634 plus 701 times 11. So what we did there is we take 5 times 620 means that we have 5 days of a balance of 620. So multiplying them together is just a little bit more straightforward. So if you do that on your calculator, and again here they kind of give us some of this information. Okay, we get that 3100. So again, that's given. But I'm just trying to show you where it's coming from, so it makes a little bit more sense. Then you take your 834 times 7, and that gives us 5838, which is what we have right here. 634 times 8 gives us the 5072, and then the 701 times 11 will give us 7711. Okay, so to get our total, we're just going to add all of these up, all these ones. So we take the 3100 plus 5838 plus 5072 plus 7711, and we get that 21721. So again, this table is given to you, and you do get this type of table in your problem that you have to do online, but again, or for homework, but again, for like an exam, you know, it's a take home, you'll have a couple days, you should be able to create this table and know what it means, because again, the purpose is here is to learn it now, so that way when you get, if you ever have a credit card in the future, or when you know, eventually get some kind of credit card in the future, and it could be, you know, a corporate card, or, you know, the church's credit card to deal with their finances, just depends on how they have it set up. You're going to want to make sure that they're calculating it correctly, so that's where all of this kind of comes in. So if we want to take the average, we're going to take the sum, which we just confirmed. Okay, so we took this one times this one to get this one. Okay, and then we kind of went like this to get this, just to show you again that movement, just to reinforce the movement. And then we're going to divide this whole thing by the number of days. So the number of days is going to be 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 11 gives us 31. So we divide by 31. 21,721 divided by our 31 gives us 70,677. Okay, so when we get 700.677, we want to round to this decimal place because the second decimal place is our cent, so we're going to get 700.868. Okay, so that's our average daily balance. Okay, average daily balance. So now we want to take that average daily balance and we have to assess the finance charge. So here, up here, when we look at this, this said we got 1.5 per month. So let's go back up there. So our rate up here was 1.5 per month. Now per year, that's going to be more. It'd be 1.5 times 12. So that part makes sense. It just depends on, again, what you're being used. So it was per month. So here we're doing 1 month. Okay, so our R is 0.015 because we're going to take 1.5 and divide it by 100. You could absolutely put in the fraction instead, just depends on your calculator because you want to make sure that you have the right stuff that you're doing on your calculator. And then our T here is just 1 month. So then I is going to be 700.68, so that's going to be, again, our average daily balance is our principal here. Okay, so 700.68 times 1 times 1.5 divided by 100. And I don't use parentheses, you don't have to, because of order of operations you absolutely could. I'm not saying you can't. 10.51, and again that would be dollars, so we want to make sure we have our dollar symbol. Okay, now here we had 0.5102, so we're going to look at this, please. 0 tells us to stay the same. We're not going to go up or down. If it's 4 or less, we stay the same. 5 or higher, we'd round up.